face it, your parents are flawed. They're people, just like everyone else. They have strengths, they have weaknesses, they have their own inner demons. They're not the superheroes that you thought they were when you were a kid. And everyone has to come to this realization at some point in their lives. And this realization that your parents are flawed people with their own weaknesses and with their own struggles, it actually comes with some benefits too. So, the first benefit that comes with having this realization is it creates the opportunity to have a vulnerable relationship with your parents. So, instead of the relationship being a one-way street where they just tell you what to do and you think of them as some authority figure that you have to obey, it transmutes into more of a two-way street because as you grow and mature and gain wisdom, you realize that you might even surpass your parents in a lot of ways. So then you can have a two-way relationship. You can provide some wisdom and share your insights with them, share your perspective with them, and they can share with you. So it can create a more two-way street, and it can create an environment for vulnerability. So they can express their fears, they can express their concerns, and you can do the same because you're relating human to human, not authority figure to someone who obeys, not parent to child, but human to human, soul to soul. So it could really deepen relationships, especially when you get into revealing your vulnerabilities and talking about that stuff and really staying open, going deep, and really showing your flaws to each other. Because once you share things like that with people, once you expose your vulnerabilities and share that kind of stuff with people, it opens things up even more, and then the relationship can get even deeper because of that. So once you view your parents as flawed people, just like everyone else, they're not perfect. They are imperfect beings. Once that happens, then you have the potential to do that. And sometimes they might be resistant, they might not like if you see them as they truly are. They might become resistant. And if that's the case, the opportunity's there. You can take it or leave it. And the same goes for the other side of the spectrum. When you point your finger, you got three pointing back at you. So you might not be ready to be vulnerable with your parents, but they might. So it could be that. It's a two-way street. That's how any relationship should be. And the other benefit to having that realization that your parents are imperfect, flawed humans, just like everyone else, is what is it? I forgot. Oh yeah, this is it. Being able to heal yourself. So as kids, especially up to the age of 6 or 7, we're basically just sponges, absorbing everything in our subconscious. So all of the limiting beliefs, all of the negative behavior, all traumas get directly um, stored into the subconscious. There's no filter. We soak everything in. So even if you do have a good upbringing or good parents, you're going to be exposed to something. And especially at that early age, you are a sponge. So you're going to pick up on some negative things. It's inevitable with with the planet we're living on, and it just comes with the territory of this reality. So you're going to pick that stuff up inevitably. And viewing your parents as these imperfect beings and having that realization that they are not superheroes, that puts you in a position to be able to heal whatever pain you've taken on or whatever limiting beliefs you've taken on. Because if you view them as superheroes or like gods or authority figures, whatever they say to you, you believe 100%. If they slip up, if they slip up in anger and say that you're not good at math, or they say some kind of insult, And it might not even be something that's that bad, but everyone slips up with anger or something like that. And they say something, and you view them as a superhero, you are going to take that belief on 100%. So, if you come to the realization that they are flawed beings just like everyone else, they slip up. They have their errors, they have their weaknesses. If you come to that realization, you won't take on that stuff 100%, and you'll be able to clear the things that you've taken on in the past because you realize, oh, they might have been angry about something else. They might have been frustrated within themselves, and that's why they said that thing. So you can't take what they say as ultimate truth because they are not gods. They are not superheroes. They they're just people. So having that realization, it puts you in that position of power to heal, and it empowers yourself. So if you know that they are imperfect beings, if you know that they have their weaknesses, you're not putting your power in their hands. You're empowering yourself essentially. And one example with me is a limiting belief I took on from my father. Whenever I would play sports, for example, it also applied to school, but let's say I scored one goal in soccer. He would say, "Oh, yeah, good, but you missed that other goal." So I would take on this limiting belief of never being good enough. So I had this I took on this hypercritical belief system and almost like a perfectionist mentality as well. So I took that on as my own belief because I viewed him as, a superhero. So I took on that limiting belief of being self-critical and all of that. But now, since I realized that and I view him and both of my parents as flawed human beings, I'm able to not take that as ultimate truth. It's just their perspective. And honestly, I see things from a different perspective a lot of the time, and I know things that they don't know. Of course, they've lived longer, so they have more wisdom than me in a lot of ways, but I have more wisdom than them in many ways as well. So, because I view them as imperfect humans, I'm able to gain perspective. And another strategy is viewing your parents like little kids, because a lot of adults are spiritually immature, essentially. So their consciousness is at the level of a little kid, like they throw temper tantrums, and they're like hurt little children. So, and a lot of parents are like this. So if you have that perspective, if you're able to see them as hurt little kids, then you can show compassion towards them because they need love, and essentially they need to love themselves and they need to do the inner work to develop themselves. But if you don't have that perspective, it's easy to get offended by everything that they say. It's easy to get offended by the temper tantrums they throw because you're not able to have that outside looking in higher perspective. Because a lot of people, you might see them as grown adults, but they are essentially hurt children. So that perspective really helps because, yeah, it just gives you perspective and it allows you to show compassion because how would you treat a little kid? Even if the kid's throwing a temper tantrum, you're not going to get so angry at him. You're not going to punch the kid in the face. You're going to see them as like a hurt little kid, or if you see a kid crying, it's the same kind of thing. It gives you perspective. So, yeah. The core message here is your parents are flawed beings, just like everyone else. You're imperfect, your parents are imperfect. Us humans are just imperfect, and you have to embrace that. Perfection doesn't exist in this reality, but it gives us the opportunity for uniqueness and the opportunity to continuously learn and grow. And that's a beautiful thing. Okay? Peace, peace. Much love. And one love, baby.